Chapter number 5. Women Empowerment. In the last chapter, we discussed how socially created biases undermine the work done by the woman and regard it to be economically unproductive. Even though, according to NSS 61st Round Survey 2004 and 5, in India, 83.6% women are engaged in agriculture. Yet, the work done by them goes unrecognized. In fact, some experts are of the opinion that if we take into account all the work done by women, then the gross domestic product, that is GDP, will increase notably. With changing times, more and more women are going out to work, yet traditional stereotypes limit the opportunity for women. Stereotypes prevent them from opting for unusual professions. As discussed in class 6th, stereotype is a group of traits linked with all members of a specific social group and is result from narrow-mindedness. Societal norms compel women to take up roles that are related to the parts of a caregiver. Traditional values tend to influence even the choice of subjects in schools. It is supposed that girls should not venture into science and technology, as they are not competent in dealing with technical things. Since they are seen as the weaker sex, they do not get adequate support in the field of physical education. Since they are seen as the weaker sex, they do not get adequate support in the field of physical education. Due to the prejudice or stereotypes, people, especially children, face a lot of pressure if they refuse to follow the diktats of the society. Sometimes these come in the form of a peer pressure, while most of the time it is the demands of the adults. From a very young age, it is instilled in the minds of boys that they have to run the family in future, so that need to opt for subjects and careers that are economically rewarding. On the other hand, girls are encouraged to a mild manner and docile. From a very early age, girls learn to do household chores and are expected to choose a conventional profession that is not very demanding. Do not be timid like a girl. Boys do not cry. Girls should be sensitive and friendly are all cliché comments that promote gender inequality. Women and learning in the past. Today, going to school is a vital part of our life. With so many schools and colleges coming up in the every nook and corner of the country, it is difficult to believe that education might have been out of bound for some in the past. Very few people mastered the skill of reading and writing. Most young boys learned the family trade. The situation was worst for girls as they were forbidden to read and write. Even in artisan families, women only performed supportive functions but could never be masters. For example, when an ironsmith prepares tools, the woman pulled the bellows, or in case of potter, the woman collected, kneaded and prepared the mud, but they never were masters. The 19th century was an age of new awakening as many new thoughts about education and learning surfaced. New educational institutions were established, but the situation did not change for the woman. Women struggled to become literate. Many women of that time challenged the traditional beliefs and set up schools for girls. Soon, they began questioning the societal norms, inequalities prevalent in this society, and even suggested new ways of establishing an unbiased social order where there was equal opportunity for all. Pandita Ramabai, Ras Sundari Devi, and Rokeya Sakhawat Hussain were the torch-bearers of the age who rebelled against discriminatory customs and fought for women's educational rights. Pandita Ramabai never went to school, but learned to read and write Sanskrit, an extraordinary feat for a woman of her time. Pandita Ramabai never went to school, but learned to read and write Sanskrit, an extraordinary feat for a woman of her time. She fought for the cause of women's education and opened Mukti Mission in Khedgaon near Pune in 1898 that still exists and continues to work for the upliftment of women. Here, poor women and widows are not only imparted education but also taught an array of unconventional skills like carpentry and running a press. Rasundari Devi taught herself to read and write behind closed doors in an age when it was thought that if a woman learned to read and write, she would bring bad fortune to her husband. After learning alphabets, she first read Chaitanya Bhagavad. Through her life story, Amar Jeevan, first autobiography to be written by an Indian woman, she threw lights on the tiresome daily life and experiences of the woman of that age. Rokeya Shakhawat Hussain, born in a rich family, was fluent in Urdu but was not allowed to learn Bangla and English. It was believed that these two languages would expose one to new ideas that were not good for women. However, she learnt Bangla and English with the help of her elder sister and brother and eventually became a writer. She wrote Sultana's Dream in English in 1905 about a place called Ladyland where gender responsibilities were reversed. She wrote about innovations by women like flying air cars, controlling rain, etc., in an age when girls could not attend school. She also started the Shakhawat Memorial Girls High School at Bhagalpur that was later shifted to Kolkata. Women and Learning Today. Providing the same schooling facilities to children of all communities and class, especially girls, continues to be a big challenge. As per the 1961 census, in a census, detailed information about the population of the country is collected after every 10 years. 40% of men over the age of 7 were literate, that is, could write their name, while only 15% women were literate. In the 2001 census, the figures rose to 76% for men and 54% for women, but the gap continues to exist. If you analyze the literate rate table as per the 2011 census, you will find that there is still a wide gap in the literacy level of females and males, especially in rural areas. Still, in many parts of the country, girls do not get equal opportunity in matters of education. They are expected to do household work. Even when they are sent to a school due to a societal pressure, they are married off at an early age and so are compelled to leave the school. Study the graph given below to see that more girls drop out of school than boys. Many girls are required to leave schooling due to poverty. In our society, boys get the first preference. So, whenever there is an economic crisis in the family, girls are the first to be pulled out of school. Many a time, students have to travel long distances to reach school. And in the absence of school bus and vans, parents consider it unsafe for girls to undertake long journey to school. In general, there is a high dropout rate among children of the scheduled tribes and scheduled castes. In rural areas, children quit schooling due to lack of schools and teachers. Another reason is that the children of Dalit and the Adivasi communities are often discriminated against by the upper sections of the society. Women's movement. Situations are now changing for the better. There have been many movements focusing on the betterment and upliftment of women. More girls are joining schools, and more women are coming out of their house to improve their economic status. There has been considerable improvement in areas such as healthcare, legal reforms, etc. These transformations have not happened overnight. Women have jointly struggled to bring about these changes. This struggle is known as the women's movement. The variety of people, enthusiasm and efforts to spread awareness about women's cause fight discrimination, and seek justice make it a very vibrant movement. At times, women's organizations also give advice, monetary and legal support to women in their struggle for justice. Campaigning. Crusades to fight inequality and aggression against women are an important part of women's movement. Women's group in the 1980s passionately protested against the dowry deaths. Young brides being tortured and killed by their in-laws and husbands for money. The women's group approached courts, came out on the streets, voiced their opinions through the media and social forums, and ultimately compelled the government to execute stern laws to punish the offenders. Campaigns have led to formulation of stringent laws against dowry, domestic violence and sexual harassment. New guidelines were laid down in 1997 to protect women from sexual harassment at office and educational institutes. In the year 2006, new laws were passed to protect the interest of women subjected to domestic violence. Raising awareness. Creating awareness about various discriminatory social practices is the prime concern of these women's movements. They spread their message through street plays, organizing debates and discussions, and actively using the mass media as it reaches all corners as well as all sections of the society. Protesting. Public meetings and demonstrations are a very influential medium of drawing attention to the injustice that women suffer. Peace marches and rallies are very effective in drawing attention of the government to issues when justice is delayed. Showing solidarity. The women's movement is a way of demonstrating comradeship with women who are suffering. For example, every year 8 March is celebrated as International Women's Day. Women from all over the world jointly celebrate this day.